It was Vectin treachery and aggression that led to the slaughter of 1 billion Hellcast lives.
You have no idea how sickening this is to us. Forced to live here, alongside the people who destroyed our planet.
Welcome, PS4Site.com review of Killzone Shadowfall. For the first time we had a chance to see a game from Guerrilla Games during the first night of the possibilities of the PlayStation 4 in February 2013. Great for those times artwork aroused admiration and all the players excited waited at once his new news about the game and the appearance of the same console in the shops to check on their own, if this title really deserves praise, whether he can longer and more valuable technology. Demo for the new Sony console. For Killzone Shadowfall is the responsibility of the Guerrilla Games, which belongs to Sony and is the exclusive title for the PS4 console. On any other platform, the game will not see ever again. Dutch creators became known primarily from the production of Killzone series of games that were released for the PS2, PS3 and Sony's portable consoles. Mark gained a multitude of fans around the world, so the console manufacturer has decided that its next installment will be released on next-generation hardware, PS4. New Killzone is a game of the FPS genre, shooting from a first-person perspective, and it is a title of starter whose purchase is possible in Europe from the 29th of November this year. Two worlds, the same people. The story in most FPS games is treated a little harshly. Just to mention this year's launch in the form of Battlefield 4 or COD, Ghosts to see that the single-player mode in these games are just a short supplement to wipe the tears and memories of old times. In Killzone Shadowfall is different. This title offers a network game, but its main strength is the single-player campaign which we will face in solitude. The main axis of the history depicted in the game is a battle between the two nations who were forced hating to inhabit the same planet. Vecta is a nation composed of good and peaceful citizens, who appreciate the order on the streets and the freedom of the heart which prevents the army headed by Commander Sinclair. Helghans, this, in turn, at first glance, the opposite of Vectan. On the streets of the city and there is dirt under the red flag of the army patrol every neighborhood. Civilians are dirty, poor and intimidated by soldiers in fearsome masks. Helghans, a nation that probably exists only to live and to kill their enemies, and at least as they perceive their Vecta and their authorities. The events in Killzone Shadowfall take place 30 years after those of Killzone 3. Then it occurred to 1 billion Helghan massacre at the hands of Vectan, which was named Earth Massacre. Within an indefinite time, surviving Helghan received a place to live on the Vector planet. They got as a gift for reparation half of it, which they could really exploited. The game is going on in Vecta City, is a great megalopolis divided into two parts, giant, a formidable wall, separating the two, warring with each nation. It would be naive to think that Helghan's wilderness forgotten what happened on their home planet, but also Vecta never yet do not really trust the ex and current enemy. You, Lucas Villain, Commando Squad Shadow, standing on guard Vectan's part of town, you think Sinclair orders which simultaneously treats you like his own son. As the events you will be involved in a plot that is likely to surpass, but you never really lose faith in yourself and your abilities. Lucas at the beginning seems to be doing just ordinary private orders of their superiors, but after a while he starts to think. Main character is not as strong as outlined in an RPG, which is rather obvious and significant for the FPS genre, but a shame that the developers did not give her a little more life, a little deeper dialogue and reflection, so that it can feel the main character, of who is and why he went. The player is not able to fully identify with him, and this is a shame. As for the rest of the characters in the game, they are better illustrated than Lucas. The plot, we find out what about all the main actors in this play yet, so here there will be no problem to find himself in this world from the perspective of the player. New Helghan is ruled by an authoritarian ruler who implements his vision of totalitarianism in the middle of the planet Vecta in a rather simple and effective way by force and intimidation. Ordinary people, contrary to what they think about them, Vecta, are also human beings. Beings who aspire to peace and satisfaction with their own lives, would be freed. In fact, they do not have anything to say here. All the cards, as in any totalitarian system, distributes power and the military. It is not surprising that among these units sometimes will be someone who will be named as a terrorist on the other side of the wall. Open conflict is therefore still possible and are committed to really two nations warring with each other which cannot accept the fact of coexistence on the same planet. Killen is a lone shooter who travels accompanied by the voice of Sinclair who sits at the headquarters. There are situations when our commander meets us on the battlefield. Then there is the action in which we find on the site of our comrades' fighting unit. At some point we get to meet other people and the main enemies. The main task of our hero is policing and at some point sees already more open conflict between Vectans and Helghast. Is he succeed? These and other questions about the story told in Killzone Shadowfall, you will find the answer when going to play in the title alone. A true demonstration PS4 power. Otherwise, I can't not call visual Killzone Shadowfall as a true demonstration of closed system computing power in a small and rectangular box engraved with an inscription on the front of the PS4. The game looks great. This is the best looking game ever created and certainly the most spectacular FPS that came to me to play. Very well rated BioShock Infinite, notwithstanding an attack from the KSF, including Crisis 3 in this field user. Large areas of Vecta City which extend up the horizon is impressive. The graphics in this game is buttoned up to the last button. High-resolution textures are well made, by which the whole world is pleasing to the eye and full of details. Wow effect would not be possible without properly used effects in the form of mist, dust, rain, particle effects, physics and less wine, but that was due to the fact that the trees in the game do have to appear. An important aspect in every generation of hardware to play is a simulation of light. With the advent of the PS4 and properly polished game engine and special motors responsible for the play of light, they are at such a level that immersion in the game world comes to us much faster and easier. The game world is full of details, especially Vectan's side of the city infects his performance, big glazed buildings, beautiful sky and blocks of glass in the background. Somehow in opposition is here Helghast's site which is made a little less spectacular due to their dark climate, but still the number of parts used in the level where we descend to the container is admirable. Guerrilla Games has avoided, however, not a few, in principle, no significant errors. In one place I could go through the specified object, and at the beginning of the game when you pass by the vending machine and we are on the counter, you do not see your own reflection. This is not what struck me as a little odd. Probably wondering how to code a PUPS for console with such an abundance of detail and effects. Very well. The whole game I notice only a few meaningless exemptions of constant speed so I can't determine the animation at 60 FPS or close, and all in the native 1080p resolution. What's more, I have the feeling that the console did not even sweat when these calculations which bodes well for the future. Music is and do not bother. In Killzone Shadowfall Silo not at all pompous and epic musical settings straight from the big Hollywood production. There are not any songs that you can remember, only a conglomeration of ambient pieces that are very good background during this space odyssey. Sounds of gunfire, weapons, flying drones, combat, are okay. There are a lot of sounds by Helghast during the fight. They build climate. Interesting and cool thing is that our enemies shout adequately to the situation, such as when energy shield will destroy the enemy that he cries that he lost his shield and changes position. Such small subtleties that add charm to the game. A bit annoying aspect is reading logs recorded by enemies or people that we hear from our speaker falls from the console. Do not get me wrong. This is a cool patent, only thing is that the creators of ASF went a little too far and will meet with such a situation, that one of these logs really irritate you. I will not betray the details, but it is also funny and annoying. During the end credits, some of you probably know very well known operatic piece. This game is executed almost flawlessly. Our adventure consists of 10 chapters until the transition to the hardest difficulty. It took me about 14 hours, more or less 2 hours I had to spend on a continuous struggle with opponents because a lot of times died. Thus, the time the game is really good for FPs are too very short. It should not be, and the glory of the developers for the fact that not downplayed this aspect of the case by putting just claptrap. Killzone Shadowfall is a game for paint linear. We cannot take any decisions than those who have planned for us its creator. All the time we move to the specified line in the world which is closed and divided into chapters. The game looks so that we get missions in each chapter is different but similar schematic and simply strive to implement it. We cannot move. The board is not doing the main quest. There are a few side quests, but they are so insignificant that they should not bother them ahead. At some point, the game can be a bit tedious because there are several levels of stunning performance and not his openness, and frankly goes to them without much emotion. But as soon as they go out to a larger space that looks more attractive, roughly types of boards are evenly distributed. It is not so that most of it is boring, is flush with the predominance of the more exciting. The end game is already good in anticipation of what will happen, as we have a commando knife which can kill enemies at close range, pistol, rifle energy standard with the ability to eject the barrel and putting the shot at a distance, and grenades. Additionally, you can pick up the gun and kill the enemy is already here, more to choose from. Unfortunately, you cannot carry more weapons like 2+ grenades and a knife. At first I was annoyed but quickly got used to this solution given the fact that we have supplied a combat drone. Gren is our very good company that has 4 operating modes. The first is to attack the enemy placed on a carabiner. The second is the enemy stunning electric pulse, this option also breaking down barriers to energy opponent. The third is the energy shield that protects us, and the fourth is a cord through which we move between larger distances, rocks or platforms. Due to the sheer volume of enemies, mostly used the option attack and an electric pulse. Gren also has the ability to heal if we are equipped first aid kit. Sometimes this option is useful but you cannot use it, then sadly dies. Our flying companion is immortal, after it has been shot down, comes back to us, and to regenerate, then it can be reused. In addition to the weapons we can carry with them to first aid kits, we have the ability to scan the area, which to be honest is very useful. It highlights the enemy in yellow, you can see through walls. When we use the scan to the upper limit, we can be straight, so be sure to be careful. Most of the weapon have modes of attack in addition to activate by pressing the spider down. For example, an enemy rifle which has 2 modes of fire. The first is a normal fire, the second grenade. Cross-out is our current task to perform. Artificial intelligence opponents leaves much to be desired. With the advent of the new era of consoles, they should finally begin to think what the KS. Unfortunately they do not do too often. On the agenda are situations like hiding in a ventilation shaft after the announcement of the alarm, while opponents will simply wander. Do not throw grenades inside, do not try to go in there, or something like waiting for them at what happens when I, as the main character, shoot towards enemy that others are waiting, though they could go around and kill me. Their behavior also depends on the alignment of the components on the board, but generally straight defeat them. Just hide, shoot and use the drone. The bigger problem is the ground and flying robots. The mission we can find several types of enemies, ranging from normal soldiers after commandos equipped with overalls with a protective barrier. They probably cause the most problems because they need to first get rid of the barriers with the help of a drone. There are moments when you will hunt down Helgazi, but they relate to the situation in the open field in which there is too much to hide. Unfortunately, the game is virtually no bosses with whom we can establish an attractive and impressive fight. On the hardest difficulty I had some serious problems with certain places in the chapters, but ultimately saying that the game should not be too difficult. The game was one very annoying bug: save game system. Save is written at the beginning of the chapter, and in a few places on the map, but often comes to a situation that we do not know when the game state is saved. Turn off the console, re-enter the game and start much earlier than done. I am a supporter. Manually save the game at any time here. Recording system average checks can upset. How is control of the game with the DualShock controller for? Great. I did not expect playing the path in FPS, but it looks that after many years of playing in this genre of games on the PC with a mouse and keyboard, I had no problem with the rapid adaptation of the game to Crash. Everything is perfectly arranged and played really well. Computer players, there is really nothing to complain about the fact that the console does not have a handle mouse and keyboard in games. Analog sticks are responsible for movement forward, backward, sideways and looking around and aiming. Triggers excel great. It's not that crap at the DualShock 3 where the finger is still falling. The touch panel is used to set the combat drone. Nothing more, nothing less. Sony has not lied, saying that this pad is ideal for FPS games. It's true. Killzone Shadowfall is not just the game for single player, it is also a great multiplayer mode that allows you to rampage 24 people at a time on the screen. When you play online there are many modes, To be honest, I have not played that long after the network, but the fight is similar to the single mode. While I had a problem with the creation of its war zones, perhaps because it was not weighted long enough. Multiplayer mode works in 1080p and 60 FPS and is a great addition to the game and its extension. To play on the network, must have a subscription to PlayStation Plus. Game developers offer 2 days of free subscription to check this game mode. New generation but really nothing new. Killzone Shadowfall is not the work of an eminent same formula in terms of gameplay. This is a classic FPS market which where many and basically nothing has changed here since many years. We have a story, enemies, fight based on the scheme known to us. Just go and kill as you kill it. You can be happy because I finished the game. In addition to the graphic is not in this game, nothing new that would surprise me. Old formula in a new setting. There are a few nice moments but there are also flaws. The best moments in the game are those which paralyzes us momentum, in which you can see and we can enjoy the beautiful graphics, large spaces, shiny and glazed buildings, explosions, fast-paced action. The most beautiful moment for me is to fly through the city which we know from previous trailers. There are also the beautiful scene when it levitates above the planet. Clouds look phenomenal. Not like the chapters where all the action was closed in the corridors of the abandoned station, or Helgonskik Estates. It reminded me a bit of movement on the world-famous game Doom 3, a little boring experience but as a springboard you can swallow. Very good launch title. To sum up this review, I realize that the Killzone Shadowfall is evaluated differently in the world of the game which is bad after waking almost a light. I say yes, that I can sincerely recommend this game to any PS4 gamer. What's more, each holder of a PS4 has to play it due to the fact that to see how it looks fabulous artwork that we met in games more often. Killzone Shadowfall is a great entertainment, despite a few boring chapters, some asexual main characters but at some point got engaged in this mature story and looked forward to what happens. This year I've played in a couple of shooters, including FPS of the year, which is BioShock Infinite, and say one thing, really FPS of the year 2013 is Killzone Shadowfall, due to the graphic design, story and good gameplay. It is not a long technological demo, is cool and very good game in which to play. PS4Site.com rating is 7/10.